So you may be wondering when the best time to spay your Dogo Argentino female is. And in this video, we're going to dive into some of the concerns with spaying. Hey, welcome. It's Nicole from Dogo Argentino. I'm out in the beautiful blue yonder. So this video is going to be wild and crazy. I've never shot outdoors in this kind of environment and had it be successful, so who knows? So let's look at some of the thoughts that are frequently spouted about spaying. Generally, spaying is often told to be the responsible dog owner behavior to take, and the sooner the better. Well, this turns out to be in question. I have 50 different resources from over 40 years that say that's in fact not at all true. That the golden ticket that you're promised, that your Dogo Argentino is going to be calmer and easier to handle and healthier, is actually just untrue completely. So I'm sorry to burst your bubble. I am going to list many of the studies, as many as I can, because there is a character limit on the descriptions. Okay, so let's look into it. If you spay your Dogo Argentino before she is 1 year old, you increase the risk of bone cancer quite significantly. You have a 2-time increase of spleen cancer and a 5-time increase of blood vessel cancer. Again, this is all early spay below 1 year. You can get 2 times a higher risk of urinary tumors. You can get CLC, which is a ligament disease, very high problem with that. You have a 3-time risk of hypothyroidism, and if you get that, you're going to have associated medications. You have a much higher risk of hip dysplasia. It's about 17%. Why is that? It's because, just as in males, when you cut out the reproductive system, you are actually affecting the skeletal system. You can't see it, but Zarina is like guarding me like no other, because we normally don't stop in the middle of an open area. She's like, I'm on the lookout, Mom. You have a 1.6 to 2 times increase of obesity and all the associated problems with obesity. You can get, specifically in females, recessed vulva condition. You can increase spay-related incontinence by 4 to 20%. She's going to be 3 to 4 times more likely to get urinary tract infections. Now let's look at some of the adverse psychological conditions. She is very likely to develop more shyness, and along with shyness comes fear biting. She may, on the plus side, roam less, because that's related to mating behavior, and females do mark to let you know, just like males, and she's going to be less likely to mark if she has been spayed, because you're cutting that behavior away by removing the reproductive organs. Now, if you are absolutely interested in spaying, there's several reasons why you might want to do that. For example, when a female enters her season, she does bleed. It is messy. You have to keep males away from her. You have to have 24/7 lockdown of the house. And for some people, they just are unwilling or unable to make those changes for whatever reason. And so they think that spaying is the answer. So if you want to spay, you absolutely can, but you really shouldn't do it until the dog has reached at least 18 months of age. So why 18 months of age? 18 months of age is a key number because that's when their bones stop developing. Basically, their skeletal growth is over. If you cut the reproductive system before they have stopped growing, you increase all these other health problems, and particularly hip dysplasia, which is already a problem with very large dogs. So why does it affect the skeletal system? It's because the bones grow and stop growing at different rates. If one bone stops growing, just as an example, and this is the terminus of that bone, or the end, and that stops growing at 8 to 10 months, but the hip joint doesn't stop growing until 18 months, these are never going to seat properly, and that's why hip dysplasia is increased so tremendously. I have been told that one of the reasons that early spay is not really talked about is because of people for the ethical treatment of animals and the Humane Society. Because they deal with unwanted homeless animals, of course they're going to want to limit reproduction to stop the problem. However, if you don't know, apparently PETA actually destroys about 80% of all the animals that it takes in, and the American Humane Society also destroys quite a lot of animals, and so does the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. I'm sorry, I messed that up. The ASPCA, they also destroy animals. So if you're trying to not destroy animals, you might think, okay, well, if I spay, I'm going to limit the amount of animals I have to destroy. Unfortunately, some people really shouldn't be dog owners. They're just not responsible. They don't do the right thing. And I can understand that the immediate response is, hey, fix the animal and then you'll fix other problems. And that's true, because you will fix unwanted pregnancies if the female is spayed. But in the Dogo Argentino's case, and particularly large breed dogs, you're going to have a whole host of other problems. And this golden ticket that you're promised of having a better behaved dog is actually completely inaccurate. Add a shift here. So in terms of what's going to make the biggest difference in terms of your behavior of your Dogo Argentino, or any dog for that matter, you want to socialize to new situations, and that means just introducing them regularly so that they're desensitized. Technically, the socialization period of any dog, including the Dogo Argentino, ends at 12 weeks. We still call it socialization, but it's really desensitization if we're being more accurate. So my goodness, but the wind is kicking up, the camera's shaking. Super sorry about that. You want to obedience train your dog. Obedience training is a good thing, and it's something I think that you should do every single day. I've had my dogs for a very long time. I've had dogs my whole life because I'm a second generation dog enthusiast, dog trainer, dog breeder, dog competitor. I do show my dogs. And so as a person that's done it their whole life, I can tell you that you will have much better results if you obedience train every day. Because the thing about obedience training is if you do it when you don't need it, when you do need it, you'll be prepared. If you only try to train or handle situations through obedience after they occur, you're going to be a ton less successful. If you just incorporate it and make it part of the routine, you try to stop this camera wiggle here, you're going to be in a lot better shape. I'm sorry. So I think that obedience training, socialization, consistent leadership, and the underlooked area, which is exhaustive, extensive, daily exercise outside the yard with your Dogo Argentino, is going to actually produce the family member that you want. Because while many people hunt with the Dogo Argentino, it is a rustic hunting breed, most people are looking for a family guardian. And that's where I focus my intent on in my own personal breeding program. When I breed, I'm looking for stable temperament, solid good looks, because most people do want a guardian. The people that want hunters are going to go to people that specialize in hunting Dogo Argentinos. I don't hunt my dogs. I don't have anything against it. In fact, I think it's fabulous exercise. But to be honest, I'm outside Washington, D.C. The only hogs are in the government. There are no feral hogs here, so there's no opportunity for me to hunt on a regular basis. And to say that you shouldn't have a Dogo Argentino because you don't live in one of those places that has a feral hog problem, to me is ridiculous. Yes, if you are willing to take the steps that are necessary to exhaustively exercise your dog, to train your dog, to socialize, to do the right thing, these are great pets and you will love having them. They will be the best animal you've ever had because they're super affectionate, they're amazing, they're really, really good dogs for the right person. For the right person. And the Dogo Argentino is not a great fit for everybody. In fact, it may not even be a great fit for most people because they are dominant, they are willful, they are incredibly intelligent, they're very tenacious, they're very stubborn, and that's why I advocate obedience training early and often, because you are managing the pack in such a way to establish yourself as the alpha pack member, and I think that's super important. So to me, I'm just not a huge believer in spaying and neutering. My females are not spayed. They're going to go to the grave not spayed, unless my veterinarian says, hey, if you don't spay this dog, it's going to shorten its life because it has this other condition. That would be a case that I would totally spay. But prior to that, The hormones that they go through, the seasons, it is something that takes experience if you've never had an unaltered dog, and it does take vigilance. I'm not going to lie, it's kind of a pain in the ass, but it's twice a year. It's just not that big of a deal to me, especially given all the negatives that come with early spay or neuter, and I don't want to risk it. I know a lot of people who have spayed their Dogo Argentinos and now have incontinence. That means they don't have control over the urinary tract system anymore. That's just not something I'm interested in. Oh, look, there's Irina. So for me, it's a no-go. I'm not into it. Like I said, I am not a veterinarian. I am not a professional trainer. I am not a professional behaviorist. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a doctor. I am a Dogo Argentino enthusiast, minus cat ears. Pretend like they're here. So I think that from that perspective, this is my opinion. It doesn't have to be your opinion. You can look at the research. You can look at your own family situation. You can determine whether or not you think this is a good fit for your family. I hope that you will look into it. And if you talk to a vet, I like to come armed with some research. Hey, I read this study. What do you think about it? This is a decision that you need to make for your family, for your dog, and in concert with your veterinarian. But for me, I don't like it. I'm not doing it. It's not happening. I hope you found this video helpful. As always, like, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know if you like the crazy outdoor background. Hit that bell for notifications. And as always, have a dogotastic day. Thank you.
For what? Like munchkins? No, yeah. It's like a crawl space, unless you're like a hobbit and then it's a bedroom.
Yeah, but I'm gonna forget all the time. I'm gonna stand up, bang my head.
You'll bang it once, and then you'll remember.
You say that.
Maybe twice. Maybe twice.
Oh, it's gonna be coming down. I don't want a hunchback. I don't want her to have a hunchback.
No. So you can stand up in here, but it's still
A little more
dangerous.
space.
Yeah, that's right. Isn't it better to have two bedrooms than one? It's not really two bedrooms. It's like one okay bedroom and then a tiny space. Neither of these rooms is really viable as an office. Normal life is, difficult enough. I don't need to get in extra reasons to be miserable,
Okay, I want to hear everything you have to say about this.
Well, it has nice views.
It was clean. It was bright. I like the skylights. I got the other problem of getting concussion every time I give it